rumor mill said layoff notices were coming soon. But I was still of the opinion I didn't want to start building atomic bombs. This was early in my career. My employer back then was General Electric. They designed and built nuclear power plants, not atomic bombs. As for the layoff rumors, well, it wasn't the first time I'd questioned my choice of nuclear engineering as my career path. When I'd left college, graduated college some 6 years earlier, there weren't many opportunities for nuclear engineers, mostly energy companies, a handful of those, the military, and some few very specialized government labs, some doing atomic bombs. However, I just spent most part of the early 70s experiencing the UC Berkeley campus culture of sit-ins, protests, social and awareness, and loudly declaimed sophomoric opinions, actually uttered by actual sophomores. I was not going to be spending my time building atomic bombs. Wasn't my future. My dad, bless his heart, actually helped me with my first job search. He connected me up with someone who was doing centrifuges for concentrating uranium to make nuclear power, fuel, and atomic bombs. It was at the second interview with the guy, we were going over more of the job details, and he mentioned that I wouldn't be allowed to talk to anyone outside the company about the work I did inside the company because the technology was classified. Hey, what? Oh, a catch. I could have a really good paying job, but I couldn't talk to my wife, family, or friends about the work I'd be doing. Back then, I wasn't that talkative, so no, yeah. Anyway, I took a job with GE to work on nuclear power plants in, January 78. I was very excited about my first job out of college. I applied for and successfully tested to get my professional certification as a nuclear engineer. I thought I was making a positive contribution to my community. If I was confronted by an activist spouting anti-nuclear sentiments, I'd respond logically and calmly with a logical argument that compared nuclear power safety to keeping laundry bleach in your home when you have small inquisitive children who went into the cabinets. You took appropriate and responsible actions to prevent harm. I could go on for hours talking about the safety features of nuclear power plants. Yeah, then March of 79, 3 Mile Island. The U.S. electrical utilities canceled 60 new power plant projects over the next 3 years. The U.S. regulatory agency stopped approving reactor permits. And in October 83, U.S. Congress canceled the funding for most of the advanced nuclear research and development programs, including my project. The nuclear industry in my nascent career had a meltdown. When my layoff notice arrived, I was surprised by my boss, who was giving me an opportunity to stay with GE, doing work supporting ongoing operations of existing power plants. The job entailed traveling around the country and measuring and analyzing radiation from spent fuel assemblies. Important work. Involved technical things that were my specialty. I asked him, where would the work be done? He said, in the reactor containment building. I asked, what would be the radiation exposure levels? And he quoted those levels quite extensively. They were kind of unhealthy. My boss must have read my face. He immediately jumped in and said, hey, if you don't want to do the measurements yourself, you can assign a subordinate or a contractor to do it. Wait, what? Oh, the catch again. I can stay working for GE, I can avoid the radiation, but I'll be responsible for exposure of some unhealthy radiation to some other poor schmuck. Just like that, I was done with the nuclear power industry. I accepted my layoff notice. I went, checked in at the outplacement center GE had graciously made available to those of us who had to go find a new job. I was fortunate. Within a couple of weeks, I got picked up by a startup doing nuclear magnetic resonance imaging. I swear, the day I started that new job, they took the word nuclear off, and it was just MRI from then on. A couple of weeks after I started that new job, I was meeting at a family gathering, and a relative who'd been very critical of my work in nuclear power came up to me and offered what he thought was a compliment. He said, "At least now the work you're doing won't be killing anyone." I rounded on him and said very intently, I said, "You don't understand. Doctors will be diagnosing and misdiagnosing patients based on these MRI images. Surgeons will be operating successfully and unsuccessfully based on these images. People will absolutely die because of the work I'll be supporting. But people will also be able to live because of that work." Folks, throughout my life, I found there's always a catch. I've just hoped I can be happy with the choices I make. Thank you.